The Paris-based International Energy Agency has released a new report on the state of the global oil markets, $75 Brent crude, highest since 2022. The latest report goes beyond short-term outlook to consider the supply-demand dynamics, refining, and other trends in the oil industry worldwide, all on the back of the ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Here's an excerpt from the presentation of that new report.
About the current situation in Middle East. So the situation is still unfolding, and there are many uncertainties how and if it is going to have structural impacts on the oil and energy markets. Still unclear, so we do not want to make any statement in that context. But a few things are clear. First of all, Iran, a major oil producer, the numbers about Iran are important to underline. According to our oil market report, currently Iran produces about 4.8 million barrels per day of crude, condensate, and NGL, 4.8, and the exports are around 1.8 MBD of crude oil, and 800 KBD of products. For now, when we look at the markets, we do not see a major supply disruption. And our expectations for this year that I think thoroughly we published also the day before yesterday, our numbers show that our expectations for demand growth is much less than the supply growth. We expect demand this year to grow about 700,000 barrels per day, whereas the supply growth we expect is more than double, about 1.8 million barrels per day. This is, of course, in such a difficult market context, this is a bit of a relief. But as I said, and we will repeat it throughout this, this session, there are many uncertainties. There are many uncertainties whether or not another party will be involved in this the conflict in Middle East or not, whether or not always the question, the Strait of Hormuz, which is very important, is going to be closed for some time or a longer time. These are all questions on the table because, as we all know, Strait of Hormuz is extremely important for the global oil and LNG trade. We are going to follow these things very closely, and we are following very closely on a momentary basis. And we are, again, we want to underline that markets are today well supplied, but if anything happens, if there are some serious issues in the oil supply disruptions come to the table, IEA is always ready to act again, if it is necessary. Now, this is our view about the current situation in the oil markets. But if you look at a bit more from a wider perspective, about the next years to come, how do we see it? My colleagues, Toril Bosoni and her team, made an excellent work how we see in the next few years, between now and 2030, how the oil markets from the demand side, supply, refining, trade, how it develop. And I wanted to thank them wholeheartedly for their great work. Dear colleagues, when we look at the energy markets, oil markets, I see a double act. What do I mean with this double act? In the especially in the last 10, 15 years, there is almost simultaneously two major growth on the demand side and on the supply side, driven by China and United States.
But first, as Dr. Birrer was saying in his introductions, we are seeing a quite comfortably supplied market at the moment. Oil demand growth is slowing to about 700,000 barrels a day this year and next. And we're seeing quite robust growth in global oil supplies. In May, the latest month that we are assessing, we saw oil demand growth up by 1.9 million barrels a day from a year ago. That's led by the Americas, but also as OPEC plus countries are starting to unwind some of their voluntary production cuts. So for 2025 as a whole, we're expecting oil supply to continue to grow strongly, about 1.8 million barrels a day. So more than double the expected demand growth. Non-OPEC plus countries dominate this, adding about 1.4 million barrels. And we're seeing growth moderate somewhat in supply in 2026, but still outpacing what our expectations for oil demand growth.